Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. And today's video, just kind of doing some doodling and on a site called Magma, and basically just a bunch of different people all drawing on the same canvas online. And um, yeah, so this is kind of just when I was painting on this canvas, and there were people in the lobby, but they they all left, and so yeah, I figured I would just kind of start recording, and I'll maybe hop into some other lobbies or just continue with this one. I've been getting into a lot of like painting and just kind of trying out some different things lately. If you've seen some of my other videos or some of my other art, I kind of like to experiment a lot and try a lot of different things. Kind of just go around and try some, I don't know, just really experiment. And then when I kind of like find an idea that I like or a concept, then I'll kind of just like work with it and sort of try to understand it and see if it will work with kind of what my goals are or different things like that. So for like this one as an example, I'm kind of doing a very like sketchy line painting and just kind of using that to render. So kind of like that idea on its own, I will take it and sort of see where it leads me and kind of how usable is it for different projects and things that I'm working on. I've always liked drawing a lot, and painting has always been kind of intriguing to me. The thing that always kind of bothers me about painting is the like lack of definition, or it's a lot harder to like get something defined. Where like drawing, you can kind of get like a face pretty defined like rather easily. But painting, it takes a bit longer since you have to chunk out those areas ahead of time and then kind of like work up into something. But that's kind of the aspect that I've been enjoying lately with the painting. And then I've kind of just been merging the two together and doing sort of characters like this where I'm just kind of exploring and placing down some different brush strokes and kind of just seeing what happens from there. Oops, I'm still in the eraser. But yeah, I've been also kind of working in these very desaturated colors, which is pretty much just gray. And this is kind of where the very like line painting, I really like it lately, is when I'm going to sort of like paint these more, I guess, defined areas, or like areas that I would like to be defined, so I can kind of like tell what's like going on. And it's kind of the main perk to drawing, especially if you don't use a sketch ahead of time. You can really sort of see what's happening as your drawing is happening. And I feel like that kind of just simplifies things a lot. But yeah, being able to just kind of like go in there, and I can sort of be like rendering while I'm creating at the same time. So it's just a lot of fun to kind of be able to do everything at once, which is kind of how I prefer to draw. I don't really like to split it up too much, as it often becomes more of like a um, systematic, I guess, where you do one thing and then the next, and then sort of you have like a routine. I find it gets can get a little boring in that way. So it's kind of not really sure like what I want to do with the hands yet. I might have them hold something, and I also don't know what I'm gonna do with the rest of the waist down here. So we will. I'll add some kind of like sword, I think. And I want a lot of this actually in shadow. And that is kind of the nice thing about painting, is I feel like I can erase and sort of like just kind of control things a lot easier, really. Since like taking in a little bit away is not as like crazy for painting. And I'll just kind of like sketch in general idea for it. And we'll darken this in. I think I'll do like the waist, lower waist. Probably a lot of like dark area around here, since I am kind of lacking that contrast on the top. So I wanted to do some kind of like cape on him, but I think I'll just have this all coming down. And then I'll go a little bit lighter and kind of get some of a, I don't know, like a fade kind of effect coming off and down here. Okay. And I'll just have that backhand somewhere in there, somewhere in the back there. Just gonna have it a bit implied. I'll kind of just fade this a bit in. I think I'll like kind of define this blade edge a bit. And then a little bit of I'll bring this part down a bit. One thing that's kind of interesting too for painting, I feel like once the idea is there, I feel like I can kind of stop. Which is pretty nice because I notice for drawing it's kind of at least how I usually draw is very like I'm kind of like have like a checklist in my head of what I need to like accomplish, I guess, for the drawing. But I mean, same with painting too, but I feel like I can kind of stop sooner where like the drawing is kind of like, oh, I have all these stages and I kind of go to coloring. I go from like head to toe and just kind of like, I don't know, more systematic, kind of like what I was talking about before. Whereas this is kind of like more of where I'm seeing what happens and then kind of just going with it. All right. I think I'll leave it at that. Okay. Yeah, kind of like some um, dead, like druid kind of forest tree thing with some cobwebs. So yeah, I think that turned out pretty cool. All right. Yeah, if you're kind of like looking for some sort of um, place to kind of draw and just kind of, I don't know, I like going on this site whenever I kind of don't really want to draw anything specific and kind of want some sort of motivation, I guess, and that kind of atmosphere. So yeah, I'll just kind of like hop in on random, like usually just free draws. But there's like other ones with more specifics and different things. Oh, yeah, I'll kind of like do a random color. Maybe we'll do like more of a bluish. Make sure I don't like run into someone. Yeah, we'll do more of a bluish on this one. When I'm kind of like starting the idea, lately I've been wanting to do like just kind of like try to go a bit crazy at the start so I don't go into like a bit of a habit character or habit idea. So I'll just kind of like really try to kind of just like, I don't know, almost trick myself and get myself in a situation where I have to kind of just find out how it's going to work out. So yeah, I'll just kind of doodle around until I get something going. I like to kind of block in a bit of like where the shadows are. I've done a pose pretty similar to this recently. for a different character. Um, so I'll do probably like a modified one for this. And then I'll change up the color. Hopefully I'm not drawing too big. I don't want to like take up everyone else's canvas, really. Okay, we'll go a bit bigger. Might have to shrink mine down a bit. Oh shit. Alright. Now I'll shrink my brush a lot for like this sort of like rendering kind of phase. When I start to render, I am really just trying to like define things and shape it out a bit. And sometimes I'll also like correct a lot of things. So if I see something that's like a little bit weird, I'll go in and adjust it. And a lot of like little smaller things I'll kind of like leave to this phase as well. Like if I wanted to, like let's say, add a shoulder armor to this character, then I would kind of add it in here. And then like, there we go. We got some kind of shoulder armor started up. And so it's like really easy when you're painting to like just go through and add little things like this. And like usually in this phase of drawing, things are a little bit more like set in place. If you're like past the sketch phase, but the same thing can kind of be done like if you're inking or something like that. So yeah, I'm just kind of like basically trying to define things, make them much easier to read, and really just like figure out what certain things are. Yeah, so like for this armor, I can still kind of like figure out through a bit of shading how I want that to be for its details. I could go quite a bit lighter and put some silver plating and then kind of like mimic a bit of the same thing for this knee pad. Okay. Yeah, especially for like a lot of the parts on this character, still kind of like figuring out what to do. And really like kind of what I want the vibe to be. I'll go like a little towards the blue for the sword. And then a little bit of like pads for for the gloves. I'll go a little bit smaller too. As we kind of work in this detail a bit more. Like, not much of his face is really there yet. It's a little hard to do like cast shadows in in this kind of way. Um, I mostly because I'm not really used to it yet. I don't have like the that sort of safety net where you know that what's gonna happen is the like right kind of move. But as I get used to this, uh, it'll probably be like more natural. I guess that's what I'm kind of trying to say. Is just not as natural to do it at the moment. I should have this. Right, now I can kind of go in and darken a lot of this. But yeah, I love I don't know, I always like drawing on ever since I like originally I wanted to find some kind of place where um I could draw on like the same canvas as my sister. Cuz we were doing like alternating drawings for a while where we had keep swapping back and forth and kind of wanted like one single kind of canvas that um we wouldn't need to like keep swapping because we're originally using our iPads and kind of swapping between them. But then kind of found this site, and yeah, now I kind of just every once in a while will come and draw in here, and everyone's like really cool. Like everyone kind of, I feel like kind of just wants to be in a like community with other artists and different things. So yeah, I mean, if it's something you're interested in, definitely try it out. So far I've had like nothing but like most people I've seen are pretty cool. There's like occasional trolls, but they don't really draw. They kind of just come in here to troll, but whoever is like hosting the thing is usually pretty good about like not having that happen. I really wish I had a multiplier layer. This would be a lot easier to just like kind of just like collapse a shadow in this area. But without it, I'll just have to kind of just like render into here and do the cast shadow that way. Oops. Alright, I gotta figure out like an actual way to have this arm sit so it's not. Okay, that'll probably work. Could have some kind of like cape coming off, I guess. Yeah, this could probably work. Yeah, I don't know if the cape really helps the drawing, but it does make it look a little cooler, I think. Kind of just like darken it a bit. It's not so stand out. I feel like if I'm gonna add that, I should add a sword on his back. Hmm. I don't think it's. Yeah, it wasn't selecting the right color. Okay. I'll just kind of like lighten up this eye area. I go a little bit darker near his hair. It's crazy. It goes from pixelated to Pretty blurry. Probably just about the at the stage where not too much like more that I see that I can like really add that has a lot of impact really. All right. Yeah, I'll probably leave it at that. Could have added like more shadow probably down here. Make it a little more consistent. Ah, it wouldn't really make much of a difference. All right. Yeah, I think I'll leave it at this. All right, so yeah, that's gonna do it. I'll see you guys in the next one.